was a bad day at the podium for Mike Johnson when he was asked a question that he was clearly not capable of answering. But first, some necessary background. Just days ago, Mike Johnson marched up to the podium and made this announcement.
You'll be reporting on this all day, but the Oversight Chairman James Comer released a blockbuster report now on the Biden auto pen presidency. And this report includes 47 hours worth of transcripts and testimony revealing that every executive action signed by the auto pen without written authorization from President Biden should be voided. This is an unprecedented situation in American politics and government. The actions of President Biden simply were not all his own actions, and there are major implications to that, including all the pardons that he signed. But don't get me started.
In other words, this was an issue that Mike Johnson was clearly very passionate about. And then last night, Donald Trump went on national TV and had this moment.
This year, the president has pardoned or shortened the sentences of more than 1,600 people. The latest pardon was for a cryptocurrency tycoon who is known as CZ. The company CZ founded, Binance, helped boost the profile of the Trump family's crypto firm, World Liberty Financial. He pled guilty in 2023 to violating anti-money laundering laws.
Right.
The government at the time said that CZ had caused significant harm to U.S. national security, essentially by allowing terrorist groups like Hamas to move millions of dollars around. Why did you pardon him?
Okay, are you ready? I don't know who he is. I know he got a 4-month sentence or something like that, and I heard it was a Biden witch hunt.
In 2025, his crypto exchange Binance helped facilitate a $2 billion purchase of World Liberty Financial's stablecoin. And then you pardoned CZ. How do you address the appearance of pay for play?
Well, here's the thing. I know nothing about it because I'm too busy doing the other.
But he
I can
got a
only
pardon.
tell you that.
But he got a
no,
pardon.
I can only tell you this. My sons are into it. I'm glad they are because it's probably a great industry, crypto. I think it's good. You know, they're running a business. They're not in government.
Trump admitting on camera that he pardoned someone without even knowing who they are, even though that person's crypto exchange helped facilitate a $2 billion purchase of a stablecoin in which Trump's family is heavily invested, which of course led to this gem of a moment by Mike Johnson.
Last week, you came here to these mics and you were very critical of Joe Biden's use of the auto pen, his pardons. You said he didn't even know who he was pardoning. But last night on 60 Minutes, President Trump, admitted not knowing he pardoned a crypto billionaire who pleaded guilty to money laundering. Does that also concern you?
I don't know anything about that. I didn't see the interview. You have to ask the president about that. I'm not sure.
What? No passionate defense of the sanctity of pardons? No investigations? No calls to rescind the pardon? And here I was thinking that Mike Johnson actually gave a shit about the things that he spends so much time grandstanding about, as opposed to just, deploying them when they could be politically advantageous for him. Now, because Mike Johnson is too chicken shit to talk about an issue that just days ago he was falling over himself to talk about, it's because Changpeng Zhao's crypto exchange Binance helped facilitate a $2 billion purchase of World Liberty Financial's stablecoin. And who owns World Liberty Financial? Well, that would be the Trump family. So just to recap here, a convicted felon's company pumps $2 billion into Trump's family business, and then Trump pardons that convicted felon. And when asked about it, Trump's defense is, I don't know who he is. And so either Trump is catastrophically corrupt that he's openly selling pardons to people who enrich his own family, or he is signing pardons without even knowing who he is pardoning. At this point, take your pick on which is worse, because from where I'm sitting, they're both pretty damn disqualifying. And of course now, we'll never hear about the auto pen again because Trump has eliminated that as one of the GOP's bad faith attacks. This is what they do. They attack Democrats for something until the very moment that they themselves are guilty of doing it to a degree 10 times worse, and then they pretend that the issue never existed because they don't want to have to answer for their own hypocrisy and their own actions. Something to remember the next time Republicans bring up the next issue that they're going to clutch their pearls about. But on the subject of pardons, the reality is that issuing corrupt pardons is a long-standing practice for Donald Trump. Remember, this is the same guy who pardoned Steve Bannon after Bannon defrauded Trump's own supporters, pardoned his own personal associates like Roger Stone and Paul Manafort, pardoned Charles Kushner, who is now the ambassador to France. He commuted the sentence of George Santos, who is in prison for fraud, and of course, let's not forget the fact that he pardoned 1,600 insurrectionists from January 6th, some of whom have been caught up in the legal system all over again for charges like child sex crimes. How's that for the law and order president? Guess Mike Johnson and Republicans don't have much to say on that front. I assume that they simply didn't hear anything about it yet. But this Zhao pardon might actually be the most brazenly corrupt of all, because Trump isn't even pretending that there's some legitimate reason for it. He's saying, I don't know who this is, which, if true, is bad enough. But of course, if it's a lie, and it very likely is a lie, then the egregiously corrupt pardon in and of itself is even worse. At this point, it's abundantly clear that Trump is operating a pay-for-play scheme right out of the Oval Office. This pardon perfectly encapsulates his corruption. You've got a convicted money launderer whose company facilitates a $2 billion transaction that benefits the Trump family, and then Trump pardons him while claiming to know nothing about it. I mean, come on, this isn't a pardon, this is a transaction. It's a quid pro quo, which again, par for the course for this president and his political party. So I hope everybody takes the right lesson from this, which is that no matter what issue Republicans pretend to care about, they don't actually care about it. They don't care about pardons, like they don't care about fiscal responsibility, or states' rights, or family values, or private email servers, or anything else that they clutch their pearls about, only until the moment that they're guilty of undermining those very things, and then they move on to the next manufactured crisis and pretend the initial stuff never existed. There is nothing Trump could do or say that would ever earn the scorn of these people, because they've all contracted every ounce of their power to him, and they would rather broadcast just how little dignity they have than dare say an ill word of the God King. In the meantime, I sure do hope that Mike Johnson can find a computer or phone or even a newspaper somewhere so that he can finally read up on the news. I'd sure hate to hear his take on these issues that he himself so passionately championed just go unheard. And I know that his base, having been groomed to care about these issues, not for days, not for weeks, not for months, but for years, clearly care as well. And it would be a real shame for those people to realize, by way of Mike Johnson's deafening silence, that he never actually cared about the horseshit he was shoveling in front of them. And it was all just a political ploy to pretend to be mad about the Democrats, only until Trump himself committed the same crimes. Yup, be a real shame to see that after all the grandstanding, Mike Johnson is nothing more than a hack to the highest order. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.